Good afternoon. You're listening to Kootenai Co-op Radio, CJLY 93.5 FM in Nelson, BC. It's time for Universal Traveler. I'm your Universal Travel Agent, Spectral Star Wizard. This show is sponsored by Gaia Rising, the Metaphysical Resource Center on Baker Street. Being in the present, being in the present. Presence, presently presenting in the present. What a great gift. Not being hung up on our past. Being in the present, recognizing the shifts and what is stable, what is centered. We might call this, for instance, divine truth and relative truths. What is eternal and stable within the change? Well, a good goal would be for us to be stable within change, which largely relates to acceptance. Knowing what we can change, what we might not be able to change yet, and the wisdom to know the difference. I like to tune into Astroclimatology, and this is largely because we are tuning into the present. We're tuning into the change. Now, what's really beyond the word important is recognizing that what we're doing is we're tuning into macro field vibration influences of natural order. Natural order. So that means really accepting it and aligning with it as fully as possible and choosing accordingly within the whole, personally within the whole. Aligning will with divine will, we might say, or our values, our personal values, with our dharma. What actually serves. Saturn in Scorpio. Saturn just entered Scorpio with Mercury on the 5th. So with astroclimatology, I'll get into that in a few minutes. Astroclimatology recognizes constant shifts and vibrational mixes. All is occurring all at the same time. Omnipotential is omnipresent. There are shifting circumstances and dynamics and ratios. So again, tuning into what's centered, what is long-term sustainable, what is our dharma, and aligning it with the present circumstances. Or we could say our own personal talents or modes, or where are we best serving within the conditions. And going beyond the five sense perception of conditions or past conditions. We aren't who we were. We aren't the past. We've learned from the past, but what we learned was what happened in those conditions. Very important to be very present and discerning. Being in the present. Don't let astroclimatology look like it's dictating or some kind of fate aspect. It is just, it's natural order, just natural order. Natural cycles of energy. This is, natural order is what needs to occur in the processes and sequencing of natural order. Very simple. Like the sun rises in the morning, goes down in the evening. It's the best way to do it. This is what it is, judge it or not. What's the best we can do with it? It's going on, so work with it. This is the entire point of astroclimatology, is to recognize the dynamics, not to feel like we're a victim of it, nor to pretend that it isn't going on or influencing us, and being in that place of how is this the most serving? How can I be the most serving and served by riding the waves? Astroclimatology, for instance, is a lens into the causal. Personal level, we can look at it. It's like an access code, a password, like a personal chart, doing someone's personal charts. We are looking at an access code, and the password is given by anyone who asks for it. That is, if we offer the password to an intuitive for an objective standpoint, or influence, or access, to access the axis, then that information which is serving comes through. Again, personal charts. It's a language. Astroclimatology, astrocosmology is a language translator of the vibrational conditions, the universal language of gematria put into human terminology, the language of vibration and qualities thereof. Geometries, ultimately, there are multiple holistic models for us to understand universal principles through, like the zodiac, for instance, uses animals. They're just archetypes. We understand them, hopefully, as much as possible. The more holistic the model, and the more we can personally resonate with it, the more sense it will make to us. That's why different people are drawn to different holistic models at different times. Same with choices. Today I need some calcium, so I'm going to probably have a physical craving for something with calcium in it. Follow the body wisdom, not the addictions, the body wisdom. So the planetary cycles reflect macro field vibration through cymatics, vibrational entrainment. That which is vibrating within a field is influenced by the vibration of that field accordingly, as above, so below, as within, so without. The Hermetic principle of co-creation. So the macro field vibrations entrain the forms. Now, how did the plan-its form? The plan-its, the divine plan-its, vibrational entrainment. They are the outer body chakras of the sun. Chakras are energy vortexes. So how do, for instance, water droplets form? The environmental conditions. How does a golf ball-sized hailstone form? Unusual or less common vibrational conditions in the environment. How does macro field vibration affect us? We are soaking in the environment, in the frequencies of the unified field. The planets mirror and reflect the macrocynamic frequency shifts because they are vibrationally entrained. Transparent vehicles, chakras. So avoid, this is very important right now, to do our best to minimize power struggles or needless conflicts. Uranus is in Aries, and it can seem very impatient. It has a vision for the future, and sometimes just for itself within the whole. Very diverse. Uranus covers the spectrum. So differing perspectives can be very idealistic. So it's very important to be listening and sharing. This Uranus in Aries is square to Pluto in Capricorn, which is about transforming outmoded dysfunctional structures, to rebalance the budget, to rebalance our values so that we can balance the budget, to not be aware of this energy could be very dangerous. To obsess on it could also be very dangerous. And again, there's the moderation is co-creation. Ooh, nice rhyme. The moderation is co-creation. Oh, write that down. Choices in the environment. Personal choices, collective within the environment. The galactic alignment is advancing potentiality by increasing saturation and frequency rates of energies saturating the field we're in. The cymatics are increasing in frequencies. This means pay more attention accordingly. Be watchful. Be watchful. There's more potential, more call for wiser choices. What is the most overall beneficial? What are the outcomes going to be? Okay, so there's this higher amount of energy, higher frequencies, more microwave frequencies, cosmic frequencies. The galactic ecliptic plane is the most saturated with energy. So, on the horizontal plane, which our solar system passes through, which is an extension of the vertical, of course, but it is the most activated time. So, what does that call for? With great power affords or calls for great responsibility accordingly. So, what are the outcomes? What we do with it. So, being the best we can, to do the best we can, to become the best we can be. You know, with the Uranus and Aries square to Pluto, Mars just left Scorpio. I'll get more into this in a few moments, but key words in the introduction, venting in beneficial ways to minimize needless conflicts. Be creative. Non-destructive venting, beneficial creativity. Maybe go and get some exercise or scream into a pillow or do something creative, but vent the energy in positive ways. Otherwise, it just comes out in any way it can. So energy needs to keep moving. So direct it. It's kind of like directing water. You know, water will just seep all over the place unless we direct the water. So, co-creation with nature. Don't stuff intense emotion. It is, again, what is non-destructive? It's destructive to put it on other people, and it's destructive to keep it in. So, again, directing the energy into beneficial venues, avenues. If we put it on another, it just comes back, and that's the ping pong game. Stop hitting back, nothing to prove here, no need to be right. When we know, and when we're in our center, and we know we were doing the best we can, and we know that the best we can is to continue learning and improving our modalities, then we simply acknowledge things, and we just share them. Oh, just saying. That's pretty much the show here. Just saying, just sharing. To empower is meant. Trying to is empower as much as possible. So the primary objective, we might say, of will is balance, the harmony, the sharing. Sun in Libra, compassion, empathy for the dynamics between so-called differences. Values. To harmonize is a key word. Mercury is in Scorpio now, entered with Saturn on the 5th. Sherlock Holmes, by metaphor, a penetrating mind. Freud, getting to the root unconscious motivations to transform and direct the energy more wisely. Saturn in Scorpio. What are we doing with our core principle, vibrational, causal, intention, conscious or unconscious? Vibration is the causal. So getting to the roots in order to clear and we might say transplant in fresh soil. Reprogram your beliefs, your modes accordingly. It transforms the ways we look at things and transforms the mind accordingly if we do the work. Saturn in Scorpio. Libra finds imbalances. Scorpio, especially with Mercury, does the work to purge, to transform. It does the transformative work. Saturn in Scorpio. Deep discussions. This may seem obsessive, but it's persisting to find the root emotion cause. Scorpio in the subconscious or unconscious in order to purge, to defragment, scan your software. Hypnotherapy, past life regression, tuning into what we might have normally tried to deny, repress, avoid, because what we suppress just builds up and at worst could explode. So what we're looking at here is honoring and acknowledging the intensities and to put the energy into positive things. That is a large catalyst. Uranus and Aries, large catalyst. Why do we feel restless? Because it's time to change. Perfect. The later we are, the more urgent it feels. So Pluto and Capricorn. Seek the hidden, unconscious, or uncomfortable, or denied, or repressed, or suppressed, compartmentalized traumas in order to release them. Mercury in conjunct to Chiron, a lot of it is mental blocks, compartmentalization, locking it into a box so we don't have to deal with it. Again, this is where hypnotherapy, etc., comes and works very well. Meditation, you can do it yourself. Mars was in Scorpio. Hidden anger comes out, or not, depends accordingly. It can look like the present circumstances, but really it's a past build-up trying to vent through the present. So purge. Forgive, release, recognize the roots. Now Mars has entered Sag and seeks better modes of anger management, energy management. Went in last night was so obvious the second it went in. Prevention. Prevention is the cure. Sometimes if there's a crisis, a healing crisis, then there's that's the cure is immediate response. Inner releasing is the cure. Vibration. Vibration is the causal. Venus in Virgo. Venus was in Leo, and valuing self-expression and our own unique ideals, as well as some collective ones. Our friends, our cliques. In Virgo, now it's about hindsight. Hindsight becoming kind sight. So discernment. We're all sharing different roles. Harmony and diversity. Place yourself wisely, big time, with the Venus Virgo. Practical earthy values. It's in the little things. The little things matter. God is in the details. Beyond form, yet takes form short term. Clean the house is a good metaphor. Valuing an orderly, organized system in order to feel good, function, and stay on track. Saturn in Scorpio. This is very, very, very powerful and really calls for heat, and it is about becoming totally focused and successful. Very important to recognize if blocks come up and things that need to be released come up. Good. You recognized it. Awesome. Between Mars in Sagittarius and Venus in Virgo, Sun in Libra, we're likely to seek higher ideals and be more practical about it. But again, shoot for the stars, Mars in Sag, and accept the moon, Venus in Virgo, Sun in Libra. Avoid self-righteousness or mini crusades of self-righteousness, Mars in Sag. Self-righteousness is right for oneself, hopefully, within the whole. Mercury in Scorpio digs way deeper. It seeks higher ideals. Be in the present. Saturn entered Scorpio with Mercury on the same day, last on the 5th. It will enter Sag September 17th, 2015. Saturn is about practical, methodical, wise modalities applied. Sagittarius gives us more expanded wise modalities. It is the learning. We are constantly learning more, better modalities. We're tweaking. Saturn is about applying it as practically as possible, and that we could call flex-able plans. We adjust accordingly. We rebalance the budget according to changes. Saturn in Libra challenged relationships. It could have felt like it's not fair. Harder to tolerate differences, we might say. But by the end of the transit, we have discerned to control our reactions to differences and clashes of interest, etc., accordingly. The 4 A's: forgiveness, acceptance, acknowledgement, apology, factored by compassion or empathy. Saturn in Scorpio. Acknowledge it, accept it, forgive and apologize accordingly. Holding resentment hurts the holder. Holding baggage, hanging on to the past, it's like reliving it. So what stays and what goes and what cannot be changed yet, and the wisdom to know the difference. Sharing information with awareness, for instance. I know we're a bit different in some ways, just saying, to prevent needless irritation. Considerate considers it. And there's a balance again. Consider it. What's the best you can do? Be the best you can be in order to do the best you can be, to become the best you can be. Keeping it simple and defined, realistic and accurate. Saturn words. Saturn in Scorpio says, control your impulses, your unconscious motivations or anger, etc. Do the work of transformation to rebalance. How do we utilize power? When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world knows peace accordingly, and that is also true in our personal lives. Any level, actually. So, nonviolent communication comes to mind. Saturn in Scorpio could overcome hidden triggers, motivations, acting out past traumas, control, addiction, getting to the root of the causes, the unconscious or subconscious motivations. When we look at our childhood or formulative years, we get to the root of the causes, unconscious, subconscious motivations. Look at childhood formulative scenarios. Are we still living that? Is that comfortable for us now? We understand that now. Or is that perpetuating negativity? Some things are genetic memory, past lives, past life regression, to acknowledge trauma and stop it from trying to get our attention in the present. So quite often when we find something upsetting, we find it upsetting. It's very important. Again, the 4 A's, acknowledgement and acceptance. Chiron in Pisces heals unconscious pains, etc., by making them conscious accordingly. It's a purge. In Pisces, forgiveness. We learn through experience. Take the lesson, leave the book. Don't hold grudges, hold wisdom. All we take with us is our spiritual advance. It's an antivirus, defragment your software. Responsibility affords liberation. Going beyond dependency or victimhood mentalities. Interdependency. Saturn and Pluto are now in mutual reception. They're in each other's signs. They're going to sextile, which makes it even more potent. This is an excellent, and totally required situation. Again, galactic alignment, macro field vibration, reflecting in our solar system in a theater called us. It makes a holographic theater called us. This makes it easier, we might say, to accept it, to change, to transform, to accept, to do the inner work for the outer, to reflect. Again, vibrational causal. Quite often the way we see things is how we are perceiving it. That would be within, wouldn't it? This may require a lot of patience and a lot of processing, but accepting and acknowledging it is the first thing, and it's worth it is even more important, that it's worth every bit of effort. The first step, we might say, is acknowledging the problem and then accepting it. Patience is a virtue. Saturn, do it right. Do the best you can. Rushing can cause more problems. Carelessness, mistakes, rushing to do too much too fast. Breathe, stop and breathe. Focus and organize. Minimize distraction, chaos, the ability to get scattered. So avoiding sudden problems by preventing them. Do it before it's a crisis. Prevention. Saturn in Scorpio says jealousy or control dramas are toxic accordingly, especially long term. Dictatorships sink eventually. Dictatorships sink eventually. That which is not built on the foundation of love collapses on the builders accordingly. Natural law. We are responsible for our happiness. Yes, even in relationships. Take your power in your own hands. Control yourself. We cannot control others. If we try to, they'll leave eventually. They realize it's a dictatorship. So, and again, accordingly. So, avoid misery in the meantime. And again, everything accordingly. Saturn in Scorpio says, focus and persist. Be potent. Organize and prioritize. Success comes from doing what it takes. If you want to change your life, change what you're doing in your life accordingly. What a week! As I said last week, there's way too much going on to even begin to get into details. So I just did an overview show, and it was awesome just for that reason. A must-hear overview. If you didn't hear it, it's free download podcast at www.universaltraveler.ca, where you can get all the past shows and much more information about all this. There's all very what are called hard aspects, which mean they're hard angles. Squares, oppositions, and conjunct semi-squares. Soft aspects are trines, sextiles. All week. Very, very potent. Can be frustrating, but it is motivating. And that's the most important thing to recognize with these things, is to direct the energy into positive things. Do something about it. Tuesday, Mars aligned with the North Node in Scorpio, and this is calling for an opportunity to go for the spiritual path as much as possible, or to reactivate it, etc., accordingly. To let go of blocks by recognizing them. Now, in the 9-dimensional synchronometry, we're in the center of the Mayan calendar in the dream spell count. That's the 260-day count. It's the end and beginning of the 5200-year count as well. This is the galactic alignment, which is actually 26,000 years, which is 5 seasons or cycles of 5200 years. We're at the end of the 5th cycle, and this means that we are starting the new cycle. And so endings are beginnings, endings are opportunities. Culmination. The only apocalypse will be the apocalypse of what is no longer serving in the new frequencies. So the precessional cycle, again, this is very, very important to not mistake new beginnings with endings. Unless you want to focus on an ending. Sometimes that's good. You're like, good, it's over. Awesome. Focus on the positive. It could be either, depends on how you look at it. If it's not a happy ending, then you're not at the ending yet. In the dream spell count today, the lunar human of magic, the center of the Mayan calendar, the twins of the one, harmony and diversity, Gemini Sagittarius, the one source in multiple forms, modalities, and expressions. Harmonizing diversity. Diversity affords holistic societal function. Or we could argue at any point between. So working together rather than divide to conquer, we tune into harmony and diversity. Allies as opposed to enemies. Very simple, no-brainer, that one. Transcending duality, harmonizing diversities, placement and choices. In the traditional count, it is the resonant serpent of the storm, which is Chikchan, tone 7 of Kahwak. In Mayan, pardon me, Kahwak means lightning bolt. Kahwak, kaboom. So it is the solar fire universal purge. It is vibrational. Why do we experience resistance friction burning? Because something is not in alignment with the environmental vibration. So, what do we do about it? We get in alignment with the vibration of the environment. And again, that's the co-creation. Where is the center where we're not experiencing detrimental friction that's just burning and destructive, but we are purifying and purging? Very big difference. Again, attunement. Attunement is so the word there. So we, at the center of the Mayan calendar, is called the mystic column. It is analogous to the tree trunk of life. It is the eternal now. It is Grand Central Source Station. It is where the eternal now, which is the hub of the wheels of space-time, where all potentiality exists and all unit and measure extend out to the tree and ripening as fruit accordingly. It is the recentering place. It is alpha state centering. Knowing thyself within the whole. There's an example. The source in multiple forms. There's an example. The eternal now expressing through space-time events and circumstances and cycles and processes. I could go on forever because everything is. So it's the mirror of the whole. The center, the cosmic dog and the magnetic monkey. We're in the magnetic monkey wave spell. The cosmic dog is the Buddhic cycle. It precedes the monkey wave. The second half of the 5,200-year cycle. Meditation, breathing, source unification, tuning in, which precedes the monkey, which is individual expression. Again, responsibility affords liberation. Tune into the source, get the information. What is the most beneficial thing? Act accordingly. Awesome. The laughing Buddha is both. Why was the Buddha laughing eventually? From doing the inner work to purify and become a transparent vehicle of enlightening information, which is not an enlightened person. It is a person who is tuned in to enlightening information, which is the lightning, the solar fire, the unified field of awareness, the information streams of the whole. Tuning into the beneficial, being transparent to what's beneficial and resilient from the detrimental and all points between. The laughing Buddha, both signs, the mysterious ripening power of the cosmic dog is the magnetic monkey. It is that transcendent loyalty to reflecting harmony within the whole, to mirror the source as much as possible, to mirror natural order as much as possible, and to express it in unique ways, harmony in diversity. All that seriousness, we might say, he ends up laughing from there on. It just reminds me totally of my personal processes. The dark night of the soul catalyzes a total awakening, laughing my head off, and then getting into a state where sometimes people don't understand that. That can cause friction in a whole other way. These cycles just keep going. And again, just be the best you can, to do the best you can, to become the best you can be. 3 times that one came up out of the ether. Being transparent, vehicle of the source, the beneficial. What would love do with me, through me, as me now? Responsibility affords true liberation. Tuning to the source for the magic that is beneficial. And it will look like magic because it's beyond our conditions. So the center, we might say, the center in the Tzolk'in day count and the culmination of the Tzolk'in great count. These are fractals. The center, the beginning, and the end, so-called, as we use words for, are the entire spectrum. So purification Quickening, it's all the same energy. It's universal water, universal fire, a purification and a quickening. The field is saturating. That means intuition goes up, potentiality goes up, things manifest more quickly. Quickenings, transformations, awakenings, unification, synthesis, magnetic, singularity, complexity catalyzing simplicity, saturation, returning to the one ocean, the complexity saturating into simplicity. Harmony and diversity is the reality, natural law. Saturn in Scorpio, sure thrive all, work together. Be as sure as you can. Saturn in Scorpio, Pluto in Capricorn, mutual reality, mutual reception, mutual reality, love that. Duality leads to suffering, cooperation leads to overall well-being. It's simple. Being it accordingly, doing the transformations accordingly, how is the only questions. Balance the budget, balance the values. First and foremost, balance the values, then you can balance the budget where it actually comes out as balance. Needless expenditures. Trading costly luxuries for overall well-being and being well overall. Maximizing the beneficial to minimize the detrimental. Public servants are implying that it's serving the public. That would be everyone. Ending crime accordingly by sharing enough. Ending desperation, very simple actually. Being who we are, called by source, following the bliss, following the heart. What is love doing through me, with me, as me now? Organizing to share it. So Dharma, the Dharma path thrives vibrationally because we're online. Just like happiness, we're online. It's a sign of well-being. It's a cause of well-being. If we want to get more in a beneficial state, get into more of a happy state. When we're in a beneficial state, we will be more happy. It doesn't matter which side you're on. It's the same thing. Which way do you need to move? Lean, Sun in Libra. Sun is smack dab in the middle of Libra right now. Which way do you need to lean to rebalance? Vibration is the root. If you want to understand or comprehend the universe, think or perceive in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Nikola Tesla, Astroclimatology, and will. Vibrational roots are the causal. Positivity thrives vibrationally. If you do your best, the best you can do becomes. Doubt goes nowhere and any point between. So tuning into, again, what is the most important. So summarizing, honestly, minimizing scatteredness, overdoing, overcomplicated. It can be undermining, actually. Prioritizing, ratios, 20 minutes max a day for this, guidelines you want, because success is what we are really wanting and needing, which is the key. Overall long-term well-being, simple. What do you do to do it? Well, follow your heart, follow what love would do. There's lots of information, there's lots of angles there. Point being, overall well-being, simple. Long-term, what's the most beneficial? Wise. Beyond comfort zones in the short term. Quality over quantity. Totally Saturn. Quality over quantity. What do you really want? And what is the most wise to put your energy, your focus, your resources into? What we feed thrives, and vice versa. Feed what you want to thrive. Responsibility affords liberation, and success is the reflection of the potency of the application. Again, flex-able plans are able to flex accordingly, but they big vision, shoot for the stars, accept the moon. This is the best you can do right now. Big picture vision offers us the ability to reach the stars, and practical application gives us the vehicle to get as close as we can. So again, unlimited vision, and yet practical application. So we're not limiting ourselves with a small vision, nor are we expecting that. We are doing the best we can to do the best we can. Saturn in Scorpio. Summary. Sure, thrive all. What's most important long term? What do you do now then? And make a list. Sometimes if we make a list and give things percentages and maybe tweak it after, because you go, actually, you know what? On hindsight, 25, not 22%. Or do a bar graph or a mandala to visualize it. Big picture collective, long-term outcomes, sharing resources so we thrive together. Free trade that's real. Also with Jupiter retrograde in Gemini, it says, wisdom to expand reference points, but avoid scatteredness or the grapevine, or who has time for that? Not with Mercury in Scorpio. Jupiter in Gemini says, learn, train your mind to focus on the big picture. There is no try, only be. Don't get things, or don't get hung up on things or details or hearsay. It's all interesting, but what matters? So what's it gonna be? Not talking about others, but rather learning to be better off ourselves within diversity through multiple reference points. Venus opposite Chiron now, exactly for the next couple of days, it brings up the past hurts to stop living them, to be present, and to stop creating the past presently. Scrooge comes to mind. Change now. You can change right now. You change your perspective enough, you change right then. Scorpio. Sometimes it takes that intensity. We don't need a crisis if we turn the car before it's too late or before there's this huge drama. How'd you ruin your tires? Well, I slammed on the brakes. So, prevention. Today, Mars is squared to Neptune in Pisces. Again, how can we direct our energy to serve the highest good of all, to serve our Dharma within the whole? Sharing our unique talents. Tuesday, Venus will trine Pluto in Capricorn. Another major calling for realigning our values to purify or to maximize, let's put it this way, to reduce needless distractions or values that we really aren't serving. Maybe in the short term it's comfortable. Pluto is about sure thrive all, especially in Capricorn. This is why there is so much collective drama with that one. Wednesday, Saturn in Scorpio will trine Neptune in Pisces. And again, same theme, of course, minimizing vagueness or scatteredness to focus the dream, to focus our Dharma, to be what we can be. Focusing and determination. Don't lose sight of the vision. Stay on track. And again, flexible plans flex accordingly. They adjust accordingly. Controlling impulses without losing center. Prioritizing big picture. Transformation of outmoded structures and patterns. Getting to the root cause. One of them collectively, we might say, is creating dependency for credit, loans, etc. Well, they need it. Give us a loan. Addictive dependencies. Guaranteed. Well, what do we guaranteed need? Overall well-being, right? Good one. Food and shelter. And addictions. But you can change those. So, relative. We need health, overall well-being. Health is so expensive. Well, what a coincidence. There's a high need, supply and demand. This is backwards. The shadow of democracy is gross level competition, creating dependency to secure loans, and gross level competition doing immoral things. So the control dramas, or the most, let's say, controlling dramas are dependency oriented. If you don't do what I or we want, we won't give you this. The transformer, Pluto in Capricorn collective structure says, if we all have what we need, we don't fight and get desperate. Very simple. Many loving people feel forced, no choice. The ends are justifying the means in the mind, and not in the long term, not in the spiritual level. What are you going to say to the source? Big picture says maximize allies, not playing people off each other. Again, minimizing needless control dramas or conflicts of interest. In nature, there is no conflict of interest. There is diversity and complexity, and it could look paradoxical at times. But the balance isn't a paradox. It is holism. It is this and it's that and it's these and it's those. I am that I am, and these and those. So the big picture says maximize allies, dividing to conquer modes create prejudices, etc., to divide the masses, who together would come together. That's the true power. Coming together. Come together right now over MWE, MWE, acknowledging the MWE, the one source, multiple forms, humans, spirit. 99% need to come together, not argue. Why are the 1% multimillionaires, trillionaires, etc. coming together for a cause? Good example, follow successful people. Not in the negative, though. The motivation is more important, but if we don't focus, oh boy, scattered, a whole bunch of coulda, woulda, shoulda. So sadly, greed can be very motivating. So let's get motivated about overall collective well-being. Simple. Again, the mode, the hows, there's complexity. Should we? Simple. It's all about resource distribution. Equality. All are created equal. Hoarding is stuck energy. Flow and movement brings in more energy. It draws it in magnetically. It's like a siphon. Gravity, magnetism pulls in more. This could be draining or filling. It depends on whether you're filling or draining. Share the both. It's the both. That's the Ouroboros, the feedback loop, the circle, the cycle, the breath, the heartbeat, the blood circulation. It has to flow through the whole body. It has to be equal. Everything in the body needs to thrive in order for the body to thrive. Very simple. It's a two-way, two to tango. Giving to receive, receiving to give, the feedback loop of the universe. Ecosystems are based on equal systems. Being transparent, being a transparent vehicle, magnet of overall well-being, we might say. Abundance that's natural. Eventually, we'll look back and say, can you believe people thought it was wise to be in a dog-eat-dog mentality? Wow. Together, we stand, divided we fall, but not by dictatorships, which sink eventually. Greed is not loving, controlling others. It's unsustainable, very karmically lethal. Allies, now there's a difference. Love your so-called enemies, and you won't experience them as enemies accordingly. Come together right now over MWE. Saturn and Pluto, mutual reception, bound to catalyze transformation of overall destructive patterns and momentums. I hope it's not by crisis. Why would that be? Well, we didn't turn the car in time. Present global economics. Why? Extremely imbalanced, calling for a rebalance, prioritizing the amount spent on military defense, for instance, could be given to create allies. Why would you need to defend anything? It's the trying to win over. Win-win is collective healing crisis going on. the alignment of the Pluto-Saturn-Uranus dynamo with Neptune and Chiron and Pisces, an awakening to ecosystems, equal systems. All is the source of the universal body. Souls are cells in the universal body. All cells need enough nutrients and resources for the whole body to thrive together. The fastest cure is mass sharing of hoarded resources or ridiculously maligned expenditures. Prevention over cure. Equality. Summary. Feed what you want to thrive, and vice versa. Holistic models, holistic models, sacred geometry, models for comprehension, like again, the zodiac animals, etc. These are just archetypes. It's the universal language gematria. These are code descramblers. Tuning into holistic model. Take a holistic model and organize your life. Overall well-being at the center, all around, everywhere. Okay. Change life accordingly. Setting attainable goals. Making a checklist, etc. Like a mandala for visualization. Flex able plans, adjust accordingly. Shoot for the stars and set the moon. What can you apply now with the highest potential vision? Go for the gusto with minimal attachment to outcomes, but definitely commit to it accordingly. Balance the budget, rebalance it, rebalance the values first. Fly to Mars or feed the starving? Healthcare? Obvious, choiceless choice. Predetermined by natural law of outcomes. Long-term, act now. Thinking limitlessly. Think globally, act locally. Think universally. That's online. Thinking limitlessly and acting with what we have. What's available, what's possible now, beyond what it looks like. Expand beyond the conditioned walls based on the past manipulations or doubt. It is up to us. Great teachers don't want to dictate, they come to guide. Dictators who use that information as an excuse are being controlling with empowering information. When we control ourselves, which we absolutely can, then we don't feel that we need to control others, which we can't. So place yourself wisely, maximize allies, be the best you can to do the best you can to become the best you can be. That's the fourth or fifth time that came through. Grow forth freely now and co-create more beautiful. Grow forth freely now and co-create more beautiful. If we don't know and access guidance and reference points to the unified field of awareness, or know that it exists or that we can't, oh boy, then we're stuck in the ego, the mind, which is trying to control from the 5 sense box. Tune into the unified field, number one key, through the heart, being transparent to the beneficial. Violet flame, purifying detrimental. Reading emotions, body reactions, vibration. How does this feel in my spirit? What would love do with me, through me, as me now? How does it feel when I say I'm going to do this? Let's tweak it accordingly. The 6th sense level, way beyond empowering. How much? What's it going to be now? Nice summary. So what's it going to be now? That just makes me laugh because it's so simple. Again, Saturn and Scorpio. So, what are you doing with your energy? Oh, that's probably what's going to come from it, hey? And there's changes. Well, you might want to be flex-able with your plans and have big picture vision. Again, to shoot for the stars. If you shoot far, you're more likely not to fall short. But if you expect it to go all the way to the end of the universe, which you could, in theory, then there's a letdown. And there's the grumpy. Oh, goodness gracious. What a diverse expression, hey? Totally intense, totally and and all points between, the laughing Buddha metaphor. So, thanks for listening. If you'd like to tune in more personally, on a personal level, I would like to help you out. This is obviously where my vibration is so aligned. It's what acts naturally? What happens naturally through you? Well, you're probably online with that one. What doesn't? Well, maybe you just don't like it, and you should. All kinds of points between. So with personal astroclimatology or astrocosmology, we tune into our personal vibrational causal. We tune into our superconscious dharma. That is, we objectively go beyond our conditioning, doubts, and blocks accordingly. We empower what we were online with, and we are more conscious and able to transcend what we weren't conscious of. Sometimes we were conscious of it, just didn't do it. Well, it's very motivating. So again, tuning into the causal and our personal dharma, because the more we're aware of it and the more we're online with it, the better our overall well-being is, because we're mirroring the vibration. We're in resonance. We're in resonance with it. It's like being in a band. Let's say you're playing in a band and one of your strings is out of tune. It's going to be painful accordingly. Retune the string, tuning in. I'm not talking about going along with consensus reality here. I'm talking about vibration on a macro field, natural levels, which are transcendent of the false matrix, tuning into the natrix, the natural matrix. So if you'd like to get a hold of me, the number here, but you can call between 1 and 2 on Sundays, 250-352-9600. Or you can email me at universaltraveler@cjly.net. Or you can get downloads and podcasts, free past shows, or more information at www.universaltraveler.ca. I highly recommend reading the article, The Twins of the One Grand Central Source Station. Grand Central Source Station. On the website. Take care, love you lots. May peace prevail on earth, yes, when we allow it.